Welcome to the Mission First People Always podcast. We're glad you're here. And now our host, Dr. Mike Patterson.
I've always been fascinated with entrepreneurs and the courage it takes to step out on your own and build something from nothing, to ask people to invest in your idea and to pour your heart and soul, not to mention your own money, into a business that may or may not succeed. While the risks are great, there are some people who can't imagine doing anything else. My guest today is one of those special people. And he is in a special category of those special people because he's an entrepreneur in the technology space. Of course, when I hear tech entrepreneurs, I think big bucks and a world-changing mindset. My guest's big idea is about making the world a better place and doing it with bright bucks.
Welcome to the Mission First People Always podcast, where we talk about better business results, stronger teams, more successful careers, and happier lives. Along the way, we hope to bust some biases, build some bridges, and have some fun. We're glad you're here. And now, our host, Dr. Mike Patterson.
It's Dr. Mike Patterson, your host of the Mission First People Always podcast, where we talk about what it takes to be a great leader and how to build great teams. And sometimes we talk about new ideas in the world of business and commerce and how leadership applies in these new contexts. I'm the author of the book, Mission First People Always, the definitive guide to balancing people and performance. It's available on Amazon or wherever you buy books online. I'm also a trainer, consultant, and coach focused on leader and team development. Let me remind you, as I always do, please subscribe or follow, leave a review, and tell a friend about our podcast. I do the podcast because I sincerely want to help people lead better and to get more done with and through people. I believe everyone I invite to be a guest on the show can add value to your leadership journey. And I like to showcase talented people who care deeply about healthy organizations and good leadership as I do. And today is no exception. Let's meet our guest after the break.
Imagine a workplace where you feel connected to your work and colleagues, where people joyfully connect to the organization's purpose, mission, and leadership. At Workplace Peace Institute Leadership Academy, we bring evidence-based, brain-based learning to support leaders in creating life-affirming workplaces grounded in peace and dignity. Spark your leadership imagination at Workplace Peace Institute Leadership Academy. Together, let's reimagine work.
My guest today is Michael Van Erdewyk. He's an entrepreneur and seasoned executive with extensive experience building and directing high-performance teams. He's been involved in various aspects of business, from leadership, finance, talent and culture, management, operations, marketing, and sales, you name it, over a 25-year career in fintech, insurance, securities, and lending. He has significant strategic business experience. He founded Bright Bucks in 2019 to help clients, and his clients are nonprofits, social media influencers, and others, to increase their revenue by better engaging and communicating and giving back to their members, and also allowing them to earn additional income. Michael was previously a founder CEO of a company engaged in servicing and insuring over $4 billion in private student loans. He's built 3 workers' compensation companies, and he was the founder CEO of a biotech company with multiple patents. In short, he is an entrepreneur's entrepreneur. And I'm excited to have this conversation because investors have told Michael that he could have a billion-dollar business on his hands with Bright Bucks. And if he does, I want to understand how he got there, learn how billion-dollar ideas begin, and get a behind-the-scenes look at what could be an incredible story. And I want to share all of that with you, my listeners. Michael, welcome to the Mission First People Always podcast. I'm glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
And you are in the great state of Minnesota. But the good news is it is springtime in Minnesota, I hope.
It is. We're into summer now. So high of 90 degrees today. We're doing good.
Oh my goodness. That must be a long-awaited relief from those long, cold winters. But I'm glad you've got warm weather and sunshine, and I'm really glad you're here. Now, I know you probably wish that this was Shark Tank and I was Mr. Wonderful, but Michael, I just want you to know I am wonderful in my own right, because I want to introduce you to my audience and help them learn about the exciting things you're doing. But before we jump into your current project, let's talk a little bit about your journey as a serial entrepreneur. Not necessarily to recap each step along the way, but to consider some of the big lessons you've learned along the way. My audience is made up of leaders and people who are building teams and trying to bring out the best in others, and small business owners and executives in large organizations. So there is undoubtedly some stuff that you've learned that would be valuable to them. So let's begin with this question. What makes an entrepreneur good at his or her work? Is it based on the strength of their idea or something else? Is there an X factor of some sort for entrepreneurs?
Based on my 35 years of experience and many, many companies that I've started, from an entrepreneur standpoint, resilience is just key because you're going to have significant ups and downs in starting a new business. And so I think resilience is really key. And then my other key thing is really surround yourself with great people. Businesses that I struggled with, I maybe didn't attract the right people, and businesses that have done well for me, I did build the right board, the right advisors, surrounded myself with great people.
You talked about resilience, and that comes up a lot when I talk to leaders. Is resilience something you either have or don't have, or is it something that can be developed? And if it's something that can be developed, how do you do that?
I think it's probably 50-50. Something that just has to come from within. So when I hire employees, the number one thing I look for, I say I hire for desire. And so it's things that I can't teach an employee, like what keeps you up at night, what motivates you. And that's the same thing for an entrepreneur. Is some of that, it just comes from within. Either you have it or you don't, but you can certainly build upon what you have. And I've been through some incredible, again, highs and lows, and sometimes you just have to suck it up and just push your way through it.
Is the ability to suck it up and push through it because of your sense of optimism, your belief in the idea, and your grasp on the idea that, this can be and it will be great?
Yeah, when I start a business, you have to be all in. You have to burn the boats. There's really no turning back. And being able to take a risk, people, they say, well, boy, isn't that risky starting a business? And I'm just like, well, isn't it risky working for somebody else? And so I always kind of flip the tables on that one and say, I think it's less risky working for myself rather than somebody else. That's my perspective. Not everybody has that take on it.
Because you're willing to bet on yourself versus betting on an organization, betting on a boss, betting on someone that's not you, because you believe in yourself. You've got that internal locus of control that tells you, I'm the master of my destiny here. And perhaps that's what drives you.
Yeah, I think it is. And then also, at some point in life, I don't want to look back and regret the things that I didn't do. I know that when you talk to people at the end of their life and you ask them, hey, what they would do different, almost nobody says it was the things that they would do. It was the things they didn't do. And so I don't want to say, well, if I had only done this or if I had only done that. I'm doing it. I'm doing the things I want to do. And I don't want to have any regrets in life.
Yeah, I like that. I talk a lot about leadership and teamwork. That's my focus, the focus of my work, what I care deeply about. I write books about that stuff. And I often say that it's all about relationships. How important are relationships to entrepreneurs? You said a moment ago that when you surround yourself with the right people, things tend to go better. So, talk to us more about the importance of relationships in your work and experience.
It's really a key for almost everything, whether it's the financial piece of funding a startup, so relationships with your investors, relationships with your board or advisory board, relationships with your employees. So surrounding yourself with great people and then empowering them, not micromanaging them, but empowering them to do, what they're good at. That's the reason they're attracted to you. So I think relationships are certainly key.
You're only good as your team. I think we both agree on that. And you, as much as said that already in our conversation. So, if you agree with this idea, you're only as good as your team. How do you select your team at the beginning of a venture? And then as you grow, is your goal to keep the same crew with you from ideation to exit? Or do people kind of come and go based on what they can contribute to the enterprise or the business as it grows?
Yeah, good point. When you're starting off, your team is yourself, and then you add one employee or one advisor. So your team could be 2 people, 3 people. So your team can often start small. And as that team grows, oftentimes the company can grow faster than a certain person's ability on the team. I think some entrepreneurs, I've made the mistake too of, I guess sticking with people too long. I'm very much loyal to my employees, but I don't want to set them up to fail. So if they might be a great employee for a business that's under 1 million in revenue or under 5 million in revenue, but they might not be up to the task of, running a 20 million or $40 million business. And so I'm all about making sure that everybody on my team is set up for success. And sometimes they move on, either voluntarily, the company could outgrow them, or, we have to bring people in that, has the experience and can manage a bigger company.
You've had highs and lows in your career. Some ventures succeed and others fail. How should a leader respond when the outcome is short of expectations? You talked about resiliency already in our conversation, bouncing back in the face of or after adversity. How do you know when to throw in the towel?
I look at my experience is I really don't consider them failures. I consider them learning experiences. So every day we're faced with endless choices. I have hundreds of choices to make every single day. What to do, what not to do, who to call, who not to call, all of that stuff. Your business is made up of that same thing of choices. I fail every single day because out of my hundreds of choices, am I batting 100%? No, I fail every day. Or am I learning every day? And so I really position it as great learning opportunities.
A lot of people resist, and I'll choose that word, resist, moving forward in an entrepreneurial adventure because it seems risky. It's not a sure bet. They don't get the resources they need to make it work, a variety of reasons. What have you found to be the most challenging aspect of entrepreneurship? Is it coming up with the idea, getting financing, building the team, all of the above? What do you think about when you've got a good idea and you're thinking about launching it or creating a business out of it? What goes through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, ideas are a dime a dozen. So there's all kinds of examples. You might have a great idea, but that doesn't mean it's a great business or that you're going to be the one to make that, a $100 million company. So it's more about execution. So anybody can have an idea, but you really have to invest the time uh, to dig deep. And often, what in my experience is the idea that I started with evolves quite rapidly over time. It's really trial and error. And even with my current company, Brightbucks, we've had to pivot. We had to pivot, launch, pivot, launch. And so you're constantly iterating on your idea. But if you're surrounded again with the team and the resources, the financial resources and whatever, you will oftentimes get the end result you want.
And I think that ties back that idea of agility and a ability and willingness to pivot, oftentimes frequently, is tied to that idea of learning. You learn, you adjust, you learn, you adjust, you improve, you adjust, and it's a continuous process of adjustment. So the original idea and the execution plan at the outset is not likely the way you're going to end up doing it over a long period of time. Is that, am I tracking with you there?
That's my experience, yes, is that many, if not all the companies I've involved with that I started as founder and CEO of many companies, they all have had to pivot.
So, Michael, let's turn our attention to your current project, Brightbucks. That's how you and I connected. And I was intrigued by this business idea, and I will not do it justice in any way if I try to explain it, but I want you to explain it to our listeners. What is Brightbucks, and why are you so excited about it?
Well, I founded Brightbucks 4 years ago and built the team and raised the money and built the product, built the app. Brightbucks is a mobile app with the goal of any organization, whether it's a nonprofit, a social media influencer, a for-profit, that wants to build a stronger, tighter community, communicate and engage their stakeholders, and create new revenue streams. If those goals are part of having a mobile app, and what we found is that most nonprofits, less than 15% have a mobile app, and virtually no social media influencers have a mobile app. And if they want to achieve those goals, it's something they should consider.
Why would it be important, or why is it important for a nonprofit, an influencer, to have an app? It sounds like it's really, I mean, maybe the reason we don't have apps is because it sounds really expensive and hard to do. Maybe that's not the case these days as much as it used to be, but why are apps so important to nonprofits and influencers?
I think when you say the word mobile app, what does that mean? Yes, you can get a mobile app stood up pretty cheap, but is it the right mobile app? Is it going to achieve your goals? Is it the right strategies? And so there are organizations that spend 50 million, 100 million or more building mobile apps as well. A lot of nonprofits, they're not going to invest 3-4 years and $5-10 million to build a mobile app. And so the cost, the time to build an app that's meaningful, that will achieve their goals, is often prohibitive. And so we've done that for them.
So how does it work? I have a 501c3 charitable organization. I do good work in the community, whether it's helping single moms, homeless people, feeding the hungry, whatever good work I'm doing. Maybe I'm a church. How would this app, your mobile app, work for me?
Well, again, we always start with the goals. So each nonprofit or each influencer or each client, what are the goals that they want? Is it to get more followers? Is it to build that stronger, tighter community? Is it to create new revenue? And I can tell you in the nonprofit space that most nonprofits right now are struggling with donations, with the economy and inflation, with 60% of Americans not able to afford a $600 emergency expense. They can just put food and medicine on their tables versus are they going to be donating to charities? So donations are down across the board. So if we can help create new revenue streams for a nonprofit, as well as engaging and building that community, is pretty powerful.
So there's an aspect of the mobile app where as a nonprofit, I can communicate with my community, share ideas, share work we're doing, get messages out there to them. But then you've talked a lot about income stream, raising revenue for the nonprofit. How does that happen? Do people just like donate through the app? I think it's more than that, isn't it?
Yeah, they can either donate through the app, but what it's also about giving back. So the nonprofits I'm involved with, whether it's my alumni association or United Way or pick a charity, typically I would hear from them just once a year when they would want something from me, usually a check or a donation. And I says, guys, let's flip this script here on this. How about we offer something of amazing value back to the members? So we have incredible cashback earnings for way to people to save on their everyday spending in the app. There's task-based offers, complete a survey, earn money, and we help people monetize their data. And so that's really the offers in earnings piece. So you can earn money and give back to people that way.
You use the example of an alumni association. So if my alumni association invites me to download the BrightBucks app, I could count on understanding or hearing from them on a more regular basis. They would tell me what they're doing and give me opportunities to maybe engage with them at a higher level. But then if I, went and bought a pizza or a sandwich for lunch, I could achieve some savings by doing that with your BrightBucks app. And then I could share that savings with my organization. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's exactly right. In BrightBucks, think of it as another engagement channel. If you've got a website and you've got social media, but you don't have a mobile app, you can't in-app message people. You can't send push notifications. This is a new way to engage and communicate with your members and to inform them of news and events and all kinds of communication. So in addition to the cash back, it's a very powerful, having the right app is a very powerful thing.
And why is BrightBucks the right app? Are there others out there? Are you the first? You mentioned the barriers to entry for good apps, maybe costing a lot of money, but then there's some lower end apps. Why is BrightBucks the right app, and who is it the right app for?
Most of the nonprofits we talk to do not have an app, and virtually none of the influencers have an app. So why is that? A lot of the apps are built direct to consumer. We built a B2B2C app. So our goal is to sign up a client, and then we either white label or private label the app for them. So it's their app versus just using another cashback app that's direct to consumer. That doesn't have the my community section, doesn't achieve the goals of tighter community and new revenue streams for the organization. We really haven't found anything like it.
Mike, to make sure my audience is tracking with you and to make sure the host is tracking with you, could you define white label and versus private label? Wasn't it Socrates who said something like the beginning of all wisdom is to call things by their right names? What is white label? What is private label?
Yeah, great question. So we offer the two versions. The white label is you would go to the App Store, Google Play Store, download BrightBucks, enter a unique group code for each client. And from there on, it's their name, their logo, their brand, their messaging. That's the white label. That version is free. The private label is where you would go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download their own app. Okay, that private label experience, there is a little design work, development work, so that there is some costs associated with that. But you're talking very, very minimal costs, and we can get clients up and running very short periods of time. The white label, we can get a client up and running in 2 weeks. The private label, it's going to be probably 60 days.
It sounds like there's some wonderful revenue opportunities here. How do you make money? I assume this is a for-profit venture for you. What's the business model for you, and why did that get you excited?
Yes, our business model is, again, we give the white label at no cost. So how do we make money? Well, every time somebody completes a transaction, they earn cash back. They could earn 5 or 10% cash back. We make a little money on the back end. And
Okay.
that's how we're able to give away the app for free on the front end for the white label.
And you gave me the opportunity to take a look at the app and explore and play with it and see what's there. You've got some really great businesses who are offering some substantial cash back, or I assume it's all cash back, but who are some of the people you worked with, and how did you get them to sign up and jump on board with you?
Some of these apps, you earn points, not cash. And then also you're very limited on what you can do with those points. Some of the cashback ones, you have to redeem it for a gift card. So ours, whatever you earn in your wallet, you're able to transfer that to your checking or savings account. You're able to donate it to a charity. But we have hundreds and hundreds of national brands, big brands from Amazon, Best Buy, CVS, Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. Those are some of our brands. And if you can earn 5%, 10, 15% cash back, why not take advantage of it? Your everyday shopping at these stores.
You mentioned the cash back goes into your wallet on the app, and then the app, the person who did the shopping can decide to transfer that money into their account or give it to a charity. So does the charity have to convince their constituents to donate all their cash back in order for the charity to get money, or is there another way for the charity to earn money?
Yes, we create multiple revenue streams for the nonprofit or the charity. We have a revenue share program with them. So every time we make money, we share a percentage of that back to the nonprofit. Also, the donations. People want to give money to a charity, but they might not have the means to do so. So if they can earn 20, 30, 50 bucks a month through the app, and they want to donate a portion or all of that to the nonprofit that they're already connected with, it's a great way for people to do that and then stay engaged and connected to the mission, of that nonprofit.
I love this. Michael, what's your vision for the business? What good do you want to do? I'm sure there's some financial success you'd like to achieve, but is there a more holistic vision and opportunity here that you're striving for?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, how we design and build the app is always with the end user in mind. So what is an app that they're going to use and benefit them? Then of course, the nonprofit or the client, the influencer will benefit, and then ultimately we benefit. But we always start with the end user. How do we provide that best experience for them?
So, how many people do you want to reach with this app? I know it is a business to business, B to B to C product. So, you don't want 500 of my listeners calling you after they hear the episode saying, how can I get hooked up on this? You're looking for businesses that fit certain criteria to engage with you. Who exactly should be thinking about this and maybe thinking about reaching out to you, going to your website, brightbucks.com? Who are those folks?
I think it's just any organization that wants to build that stronger community, engage their members or their followers, social media influencers, nonprofits is we're focused on, but we're also doing a for-profit client that is focused on employee retention and engagement in the long-term care assisted living space where they have tremendous problems with turnover and retention. So they really want to roll this out as a benefit for those employees. So if you don't have an app and maybe don't understand or don't believe that you could afford it or it would take too long or you don't know all the ways it could benefit you, I'd say you should really explore it.
You said at the outset, at the end of your life, you don't want to look back with regret and say to yourself, I'm sorry I didn't do that. I didn't pursue that dream. I didn't explore that idea. Let's fast forward 10 years. What do you want to say about BrightBucks in 10 years?
I think this is a purpose-driven, mission-driven business of helping nonprofits, it's helping influencers, the right type of influencers. It's not just somebody posting selfies of themselves. It's really the influencers that are doing something for a greater good or doing something good in the world with a good product or service. I believe that if we get 1 million people using this app, we've achieved remarkable success. We don't need 5 million, 10 million, 50 million people. 1 million people using this app would be very successful. I don't know how long it's going to take us to achieve that, if it's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, but that is the goal.
Well, after this episode airs, you might get there a little faster. Let's hope for that. Michael, as my listeners know, I always ask my guest near the end of our conversation for one piece of practical advice that the people in my audience could benefit from and begin applying it right away. So I don't think I warned you that I was going to ask this penultimate question, but what advice would you have for us?
Oh boy, that is a wide open question. I don't know. I think in this data-driven world with AI and machine learning and all the buzzwords too, is that at the end of the day, you can create a business kind of the old-fashioned way and also build a business to make money. It's not the type of business. If you're thinking of starting a business, you have to show a path to profitability. I think you shouldn't get caught up in the buzzwords of the day or the latest fad or something that might excite everybody today, like crypto was 6 months ago. Maybe not the same today. I'm not saying anything bad about crypto, but AI, machine learning, it's in the news a lot lately. So I think build a business on fundamentals.
If people want to learn more about BrightBucks or you, I know you've got a website, brightbucks.com. And I think you're on LinkedIn. Would you be open to people connecting with you on LinkedIn, Michael?
Yes, absolutely. Happy to connect with any of your listeners on LinkedIn.
Well, Michael, that's all the time we have. And I thank you so much for being a great guest on the Mission First People Always podcast. I'm excited about the work you're doing. I'm really excited about getting more resources to nonprofits who are doing good work, doing the Lord's work in many cases. And so I want to thank you for what you're doing. Again, thank you for being a great guest, and I wish you much luck as you grow this business and help a whole lot of people. To my listeners, I don't know about you, but I'm always encouraged by people who want to make a positive difference in the world through business. They are out there. We are out there. Our guest today, this idea of BrightBucks and many of the things that you're doing daily in your world are making a positive difference in the world. So keep it up. And that's why I do this podcast, to help you be better and hopefully to make the world a better place, even if it is through one leader at a time, one relationship at a time, Let's make it better. And
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you want to create a stronger, more people-centric and empowered culture for your organization, visit drmikepatterson.com.